Hi everyone and welcome back to the Aquarium Show. My name is Owen and this week I want to talk to you about a product that I've seen in the market for quite a while now. It's the Aquael turbo filter range. Now I've got one tank that is just about to be rescaped, and whilst most of you know I normally run all of my tanks down in the basement off of sponge filters and air pumps, I have seen this for a while now and it looked like quite a good solution that would sort of be a bit of a middle ground, I suppose. So there's a few different versions of this type of filtration, and there are some that are essentially just a sponge with a power head on top. This one though is the model they do called the turbo filter, which also has a biological chamber on it. So it's a sponge filter, biological chamber, and then a power head, and they're quite highly rated. So this is rated to filter a tank up to 150 litres, and this is the smallest model that they do. They then have models that do 2, 3 and I think 400 litres of water, or so they claim. So quite an impressive claim, and I'm looking to use this on a 50 litre tank, so it should be more than enough filtration. So yeah, like I say, this is the Turbo Filter 500. This is their cheapest and smallest model, and in it essentially is just a sponge filter, a biological chamber and a power head. So what do you get? First thing you see is a bunch of pipes. I think you can adjust this to sit at multiple heights in a tank. Got your clips, instructions, suction caps for the tank, a little bit of hosing, there we go, the main sponge and power head. It's come together like that, so you can see it's designed to just go over like that, but I believe there should also in this model be a biological chamber as well. Yeah, here we go, the biological housing, I believe. There's quite a few things that come with this. It's not the most straightforward of looking things, but there you go. So that is your chamber that houses the biological media. I think they supply some, yep they do, some biological media with it, and inside there is kind of a little smaller chamber at the end that is not able to be filled with the biological filter, so I guess that kind of stops it from clogging up too much. And allows plenty of airflow to come around the biological media. This goes on top like so, and then somehow this attaches to this, but I don't know how. Ah, that comes off. That comes off. This goes on to here. So basically it was sort of put together with the power head because you can just run it like the original kind of cheaper models are, which is just a power head and a sponge like so, and that would be your most basic way of filtering a tank. And then you can take this off, attach that to the housing for the biological media, and this can attach the bottom of the biological media, and then the sponge can go on there instead. And that is what it looks like. So it's pretty small. It'll be interesting to see if it gets as good, if not better, filtration from. So we'll see. Okay, and then what else do we have with this? So this presumably attaches to this bit here, like so, and then the suction caps can just go in there. So you'd be able to leave the suction cap section on and just unclip this. This bit here is designed to attach into this housing like so, and you can hook that over the tank and you can adjust it all the way up to wherever you need it to be. So I'm going to get it into the new tank and then work out how to build an enclosure around it. It's a bit smaller than my double-sided sponge filters because those about twice the width, and so that will allow me to kind of create an enclosure in this tank now that doesn't take up quite so much space. I'm always fighting a losing battle a little bit with trying to build these enclosures and hide away this stuff rather than just do what most people do and have an external filter. Building an enclosure like I'd normally do out of a bit of acrylic always loses a little bit of depth in the tank, and then you're sort of fighting with your scape then to kind of bring that depth back by kind of putting some scaping illusions in essentially. But it's still the way I like to do things, and it still kind of sticks to the principle of trying to do this in a cheap way. So yeah, fingers crossed we can get this in and hide it away along with the heater into the back corner, a little bit like it was before in that tank and like I've done in previous tanks, but an even smaller enclosure because this doesn't take up quite as much space. So as usual, I want to try and get the heater into the back corner and then hide them away as much as possible. So as you can see, that does take up significantly less space. I'll probably put it the other way around so that the heater isn't quite into the corner, so that there's a bit more flow that goes around it. The only thing is, of course, that this tank has little corner bits on it, so I probably will use the suction caps so that I can get the lid on this tank. It's a very light unit actually, which is quite surprising. It looked like it might be quite a bulky thing, and I was a bit worried that it might just look a bit cumbersome. Very impressed with how small it is. I haven't unpackaged the biological media because whilst it's great to have some more biological media, it's never good to use new media. In fact, that's a top tip I should do a video about, really. Never use new media, always use cycled media. I'm sure lots of people know that already, but it's worth hammering home nonetheless. So that's a pretty small amount of space that we're going to have to cover up with the acrylic. This is out of the old tank, the old Nano, and actually will work perfectly. So that means that I can silicone that into that space there, and compared to how much space I was using before, so I think you can just about see the old silicone line. So the old piece of plastic came out as far as here, so you lost a lot of depth in this tank. This will allow me to go back here, hide everything away behind that small enclosure like that. Pretty impressed with that. It's going to sit nice in that corner. So that's all I wanted to show you this week really, was the Aquael Turbo 500 and how I'm going to place it in that tank. Now I'm going to get on with scaping this tank, and then you will see it in that very tank hidden behind that enclosure like I just showed you. But so far so good, it looks pretty good. A nice big chamber for the biological media. Powerhead seems pretty well made, and it's a pretty big rating. And like I say, it's pretty impressive that this filter claims to filter 150 litres of water. So we shall see how it does in this 50-litre tank, and you know how good it is for things like actual mechanical filtration, because we already know the sponge filter is going to be great for biological filtration. In fact, it's got a big biological chamber in there, should help out massively as well. But is it going to keep the tank clean, or am I going to be reliant on, you know, what I'm currently reliant on, which is a lot of mechanical filtration on top of the sponge filtration? So we shall see. But so far so good, pretty impressed. The unboxing looked good. Everything I needed was there in terms of you know, how I might fit it into the tank in various different ways, be it with the suction caps or with the little hoop thing that goes over the top of the tank. I think I'll probably use the suction caps so that I can still put the lid on my tank. And yeah, as I said in the video earlier, never use new biological media, so great to have some more to replace it in other filters, but ultimately I'm going to put some you know, already cycled biological media in here, and that should get this tank up and running nice and quickly. So I shall see you next week, and I will give you an update on how I think this is working in a future video. Thanks for watching. This is like a classic watching a guy unbox something when he hasn't got a clue and he hasn't read the instructions, which I will do now. Okay, so this bit here is designed to attach